Okay, here is interview number 2, and this was actually recorded on the 27th of August, so I'm running a little bit late with my analysis of this. It's taken quite a long time to pull these videos together. In this one here, we hear from Mitul, and he's gone from trying to do technical drawings himself to Ink Factory Studio. So let's hear him and see why he's done it.
A bit of overview of what it is I'm trying to do here. So this is some very, very early stage research into the language that people use as they describe both searching for, purchasing, using a course that helps them express their ideas visually. So the good news about this is it's your own story in your own words. So you can't get anything wrong. There's no trick questions. There's nothing difficult. If you don't remember anything, don't worry about it. Just say pass or whatever. It's fine. The bad news about it is where it's about language, I'll apologize up front because you might say something and I might interrupt, and it's not because I want to be rude. It's just like you might use a certain phrase or something. I've got to make sure I understand what it means to you rather than maybe how I use it.
Of course.
And you can kind of think about this. Imagine I'm shooting a Netflix documentary series of a group of people who've joined this type of course. This will be your episode. So I might ask some really weird questions, like imagine I'm carrying my film camera, shooting the scene. What's the weather like, or who's in the room, or whatever. But I find it helps jog people's memories, and it hopefully makes it a bit less painful.
Perfect. Yeah, would definitely support you for that. Yeah.
Super. So, Mitul, maybe can you just help give me a bit of overall context to your story? Maybe who are you? What's your job? Like, what's going on in the big picture in your life when you decide to sign up to this course?
Yeah, of course. So I am a technology leader. I've been working with this company, a health tech company called CTS Tech, for around 13 years now, with overall experience of more than 15, 16 years. So my role has advanced from being a software engineer to someone who has the responsibility of creating and designing the architecture, identifying the right components and fit those components into a visual representation of how we are going to implement a software product. So that's part of that. That's like first part of my job. The second part is I also need to convey the same to different users depending upon the category of users. So if I'm training, let's say I develop my own team, then I have to put across a picture in a visual manner that they understand better as compared to the picture that I put across in front of my clients who wants to understand the same workflow in a more business-centric way. And then come back. So yeah, that's where what my role is. Basically trying to align all of that I have an expertise about, like workflow, architecture, design, in fact, a training, a presentation into a visually attractive format or a visual way that one can apprehend easily rather than reading through this entire contextually difficult theory about understanding a workflow. So yeah, that's pretty much about it.
You win. This is an excellent description. So you're a technology leader. Got 13 years in this company. You mentioned that you'd advanced from software engineer to more architectural design. When did this happen? Is this recently, or is this quite a while ago?
That's been quite a while. So it's been 7 years since I'm into this role of software architect. But of course, as an architect as well, when you become a software architect, I don't know whether you've been to that level or not. You get to have more responsibilities in terms of project management, interacting, coordinating with stakeholders, clients. There is different growth. There's kind of a level of growth in each of those aspects every year. Even though you still have to do the architecture work, there are still more responsibility that gets aligned every year to that responsibility. Yeah.
All right, that makes sense. Okay, so maybe if we focus in. So I think you mentioned in the screener it was Ink Factory on skills. In your own words, again, just forget whatever I've said in the screener or anything like that. What what would you describe the thing you've bought? If you were telling your wife or your friends or something, oh, I've just joined, like what was it that you think you've purchased?
So I think what I've purchased is bunch of ideology, or the way how I can practice the art of visually representing my thoughts or everything that I want to represent back to any category of users, right? I've not exercised. I'm more of a technical person. I've not exercised this concept of art or visually representing my thoughts very often, and that's what this particular course helps me do better. Like basically, it emphasizes different aspects that I need to focus so that I can start aligning my thoughts more into a visual, iconic, or a visual format that fits better into a story that I can convey back to the user. If that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, no, this is awesome. So let me just capture. I'm recording it, but I like to write it down so I can follow along. So you're more technical than artistic, and this helps you focus and align your thoughts to a visual format that
I can practice often. I can identify. Basically, there was no focus, right? I could have, if I would have done it myself, there would not be a flow in which I would have thought. No, I couldn't have realized that there is something called a scale that I need to work on. There are different scale of writing. There is a different colors that I can use. There is something called as connectors or containers that I can focus on. So all of that conceptual art of visually describing things is something that could not have been organized within my mind if I would not have taken that basically tutorial. I would be randomly thinking any icons or anything that I think is realistically matching with my imagination into the paper, and then try to understand, and would have tried to impose that on the user who's trying to consume that information, right? Versus now I've like become more structured in the way how I approach the visual representation of my ideas.
Okay, that's awesome. So if I'm hearing you right, then it's, again, technical background. You're not an artist or anything like this. You come from software. And now it sounds like you have to represent these ideas to different audiences. If you were left alone, you'd go and grab whatever you liked the look of and put it in a presentation.
Yeah.
But with this course, you're learning some actual structure and I think you said principles or ideology.
Yes, ideology and scale, many aspects like scale, color, contrast, everything in a structured way.
Yeah, awesome. That's great. So with that course, when did you sign on the dotted line? When did you pay up to join?
I believe I don't have an exact date, but yeah, it was a couple of months ago. Yeah.
Okay, a couple of months ago. So we'll be end of August now. Is it before the summer or is it
before the summer? Yeah, almost at the beginning of the summer. Yeah, you can say May. Yeah, May end.
Okay, May 25. I think you mentioned how much did this cost?
This actually is so the learning. This actually costs me to subscribe to something called a Skillshare. I don't know whether you know Skillshare. So I subscribe to this platform called Skillshare and pay $14 a month from my own pocket.
Okay, so there's a 14th a month. Did you sign up to Skillshare specifically to do this course, or were you already signed up to Skillshare and you could then this was just another course that I could access?
So I was aware of Skillshare. I had basically signed up for Skillshare for a different reason, not recently, but earlier, and then I had canceled the subscription. Now I rejoined the subscription because of this course.
Okay, so you'd used it previously for something else, canceled your subscription. How long ago did you cancel the subscription?
It was a couple of years ago, yeah.
Okay, so a few years ago. And then this one here, you've come back and said, oh, let me have a look and I'll sign up, $14 a month. Have you kept the subscription after this course, or are you still learning in the course, maybe?
No, I've kept the subscription after the course because they keep on publishing new courses into Skillshare that I can leverage every day. There's also a concept of posting your project, like creating and posting your own project that you can view for other users have been doing as well. Consider that as a social media for visually representing, like learning to visually represent ideas and concepts, and then one can actually share, learn, like interact with those ideas with each other as well, and improvise them as well.
Okay, so maybe let me try and represent this and see if I'm following along. So previously, joined up to Skillshare, paying my $14 a month, looking at courses, whatever. At some point, I've decided, hey, I'm not getting any value. A couple of years back, park it. This time, I signed up in May. How long did the course take to complete?
The course did take to complete like in a couple of days, but yeah, so it's not a large course, but they keep on publishing new videos, to be honest. So,
okay.
Yeah, so basically the course, the way it works is they keep on publishing new videos as and when they create one.
Right.
And there is no particular specific date that they're going to publish that. So till that time, you got to interact with your existing video. Sorry about that. Yeah, you were saying something.
Yeah, no. So I'm just interested. So I've signed up. So the course is, let's say, a few days. Is this like full time? I've got to sit down and study from 8 till 5
no. But yes, you sometimes have to take the references because of the approaches mentioned within those videos. You definitely have to visit those videos to take references and about how to approach
okay. I guess maybe my Netflix moment. Am I filming you? You're logging onto something like this and joining a class of other people learning, or am I filming you more like you're sat in front of YouTube watching a video to learn something and doing it in your own time?
The YouTube video, wherein I am also interacting with other watchers in form of comments. That's it. So yeah, it's more like a YouTube video.
Okay, so this is more. I've pre-recorded some content to teach this subject. You have access to it, and then as and when maybe it's me as an instructor, I record some new material. You just get continued access to that.
Yes. I want to add one thing to that. So they do have their own platform wherein they sell, they publish and sell specific emojis and icons, pre-built icons that one can purchase and make use of like readily. So if I'm too lazy to visualize, create the icons that relates to me, I basically can purchase from a bundle that they have created on their platform and then make use of it. So yeah, that's another. But it's a one-time fee. There is no subscription for that.
Have you done that?
No, I've not done that. It's just that I just saw that on the platform, and I'm very specific about me wanted to create what I think is right for my audiences. So So that's why I didn't subscribe to that.
I'm hearing you right. You've seen it and you thought, look, that's nice, but I'm not going to buy it because I want to make something specific to my...
Exactly. The context why I signed up for is because I need to learn and I don't need to adapt from what they've created. So,
okay, that's cool. You mentioned something. There's like a social media for visual ideas or visual.
Yes.
How does that work?
So basically what they have is a separate section in the Skillshare wherein there is something called as project. They encourage people to create their own project and post it over there so that people can view what are the different ideologies others are using and can also learn from that.
And can you help me understand that? So project there, you're saying ideologies. Is this more me saying, hey, here's how I think we should design something? Or is this more me designing something myself and just trying to get critique on it?
No, it's just me trying to come up with something that I think that I like. Let's say me as a technology leader, I can design my architecture and post it over there. Someone else can design their own animation and then post it over there. So everyone has the freedom of designing what they want to and post it on the platform. And of course, one can learn from that as well. No, it's not necessary that one has to learn with a specific idea or creativity or a concept or a category. One can learn from anything, right? Any other field as well. So yeah, that's the idea.
So maybe are you actively using this social media thing?
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm just viewing it. I'm not posting it anything like that.
Oh, okay. So you're using it to view.
Yeah, getting inspired to understand what kind of visuals people are coming up with. What is the imagination? What is the story that they are trying to post using, of course, their work or their relative area of focus, right, on that platform, to basically get some inspiration, adaptation, kind of some motivation as to how I can go about creating my stories and putting that visually on a board.
Okay, that's cool.
Sometimes also visual tools or even markers is something that I get inspired from as well. A specific type of tools that they are using, or specific type of paper, markers, pen designs is something that they're leveraging. You can get inspired with that. So yeah, that's all I use it for.
Got it. And if I'm hearing you right, you said that you've kept your subscription this time so you can use this. Is this right?
Yes, that is correct.
How often are you in there sort of browsing or viewing or?
Not much actually, but every once in a while. It's a very ad hoc task. So whenever I have to create any of such thing, right? If I'm not getting the right history or the idea about how to go about sketching that using all of the tools that are available with me, then I basically go into this platform and understand what are the presentable ideas that's basically taught. And try to visualize using the help that I get from those videos again. So yeah, it's not like the specific frequency, like every once in a week. Sometimes it's like a couple of times in a week, 3 times in a week. Sometimes it's not at all in 2 weeks. So yeah, it's variable.
Okay, but it's more driven by I've got to do something. I've got to come up with an idea. Looking at a blank sheet of paper.
Yes.
I'm going to come here and get some inspiration.
Yes, absolutely.
Did you know about this sort of social media thing when you signed up? Is this part of the reason you signed up, or was this like a cherry on the top?
I actually knew it, but that was not the reason why I signed up.
Okay.
Yeah, I was aware that one can create their own projects and share on this platform, but was not that was not the main reason why I signed up for this. Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you for that. That's really useful. So I'm looking at this, in May, let's say 2025, you've made this decision to rejoin Skillshare to learn this. Maybe can you take me back in time now to whenever it was, earlier on in the year or however long ago? When did you first think, hey, I need, some help to do something different? Like whatever I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what was the first thought in your mind that took you away from, business as usual into eventually signing up to this course?
Yeah, so of course, critical feedback from my senior management, very critical feedback in terms of why the diagram is not representative or representing enough of what you are trying to convey as an idea. The diagram is all over the place. The diagram is not useful to be presentable back to client. There is a lot of background work. There's a lot of things that you're trying to convey in a small piece of architecture. So all of that feedback definitely did. I don't know, my senior management is very blunt on my face actually, and that definitely did help. But I personally was also trying to visualize. So I on a very serious note, I also thought that I don't have the right direction, or the stories that I create. I'm very good at creating stories, by the way, in my mind. But the stories that I create are not I'm not able to visually represent those stories actively, in a sense that I can showcase that to the audience in the way I ideally frame it in my mind. And that's kind of another trigger why I decided.
It's good. So if I'm hearing you right, then you've been tasked with this job. You've had 7 years more as the architect, and some part of this job, you mentioned some part of the job is to create whatever the visuals are, either to put the architecture or to explain it to a customer or explain it to your team.
Yes.
What percentage of your job is this? Is this like 1% of my job, 50% of my job?
It's more than 50% for now. So yeah. So if you would have asked this question to me 7 years ago, then this would have been hardly 10% of my job, right?
Okay.
But now it has grown to become more than 50%. So around maybe 60%, 70% of my job.
Okay. And now it's grown to that level.
Yes.
When is now? Like, is this something that's happened in this year? Is this something that's happened in the?
It's actually gradually increased year by year, but I would say in last in last 2 years, since the advancement into AI world, right? I've got to use that very often. So I think the jump has started to appear since last 1.5, 2 years. Yeah.
Okay, so basically 10% when you first started. Now it's, as you get more senior, it's increasing, and AI and other things seem to accelerate.
So the fact that I want to convey is, no, I was never part of. I was always a technology guy. I was never part of sales and cross consulting and all of that. Now I've been participating in those aspects within the company as well as I got senior, and then hence kind of job demanded me to basically be contributing towards those aspects as well, and then that's also has played some part.
Okay.
Especially in the last 2 to 3 years. Yeah,
that's awesome. You mentioned it, so that there's two pieces to this by the sounds of things. One part is I don't have the right direction to make my story visual. So it sounds like in your head you've got stories, or you've got something that you want to tell.
Yes, 100%.
So how do I, like, imagine that's me and I'm playing you in this Netflix documentary series. How do I like, what happens? How do I realize that I can't get the story out of my head?
Exactly. So what happens is, I know exactly how the end-to-end architecture should be. What I get troubled with is when I start conveying those story, I try to rush a lot, right? To put things that I have, the components that I have in my mind, into actual artifacts when I draw it, right? And that's I rush a lot, and then in that rush, I can start creating the same identifiers for all types of events. When I say, let me just break that into a simplistic language, right? When I think of a system, like let's say a database, or let me just put it even more simpler. So let's say if I think about a computer versus if I think about a mobile phone, right? I try to draw both of them as the same rectangular shape within a diagram, right? And that's my issue, because I'm in a hurry to represent the content of what mobile phone and computer does, and then put down that on words. I try to ignore the visual thing, wherein how to distinguish between the same. The other part, sorry.
I think hopefully I'm beginning to sort of understand. So if I'm hearing you right, in your head the story's pretty fully formed. You've got this end-to-end architecture, whatever it is, a computer, a mobile phone.
Yes.
You want to pull that out onto paper.
Yes.
But you're not thinking about how you should visually represent it. So that two things are different.
Correct.
And what's the problem with that? Why does that matter?
It does matter in a sense that those becomes a very useful identifiers that are used across the diagram multiple times, right? So and that has a clear indicator, like you draw something as a triangle versus you draw something as a rectangle, right? It's a clear cut indicator, right? And that's going to be reused across this diagram and in other diagrams as well, cross-referenced in some other diagrams as well. So those are like unique identifiers that people tend to make assumptions that they know this particular component with the help of the icon that I represent into that board, right?
Okay. And so if I'm hearing you right, then you've put this icon in here. And the problem is that as this board gets bigger and bigger, and this gets used and reused, is that maybe my perspective is that a mobile phone's a triangle, and then I see another triangle somewhere else in the diagram, and it's not a mobile phone.
Correct. That is correct. Perfectly.
And that causes a problem for you? How?
So that's not so for me. It becomes a lot of confusion within my mind when I look at that diagram entirely at the end, right? Yeah. Because there are two triangles having two different meanings, but when I'm looking from like a couple of foots back, I'm just thinking of those two components as the same, right? And that's my problem. Yeah, that's kind of a telling a false story that I don't want to convey to to the user.
Is this tied to the feedback that you're getting from your management that says, hey, all your diagrams have got the same icons on them for everything?
Not specifically. Yeah, that's something that I've observed on my own, and as it's a limitation that I explored.
Okay, and how long have you had this limitation?
How long have I had this limitation?
Yeah, how long has this been bothering you?
I think most of my life. The moment I actually stepped into this architectural, so I had this engineering drawing in my academics when I was part of an engineering college, right? During my studies when I was a kid. From that time onwards, it's bothering me.
Right. So maybe if I rephrase that question, this is not a new problem, right? This is something you've had since you were a kid.
I'm so sorry about that. I didn't mean to crack a joke. Yeah.
I love it. This is why I love these interviews. So you've had this problem for ages. Why do you suddenly wake up one morning and think, I'm going to solve it today, and I'm going to go and do whatever you went off and did?
Yeah, I have a very specific answer, even though I'm laughing. It's the KPIs, and KPIs defined for me. My role was always to ensure that I am delivering a solution full of quality. Let's say I am delivering you a software. The software should work as anticipated. There is no concept of putting across the visual representations correctly. We have products team and other teams who work on all of this, right? Now, as my role changed or dwelled into a different role, I kind of entered into a different role wherein I have to talk to clients, convince them to buy a solution that we have developed, or if I have to tell my team that, hey, yeah, take this as a reference to develop your application or tool that you're developing, right? I need to be more precise, perfect, accurate, creative, and also kind of should be able to narrate the story that I'm trying to visualize or trying to think into the paper as how people are reading it. So I should be able to convey the 100% representation of what my definition of the ideal system is to my developers, as well as my stakeholders, as well as my end users, clients.
That makes sense. And so you mentioned, so this is about your KPIs. So what KPI did you get related to this, and when?
So KPIs, so 3 years. Again, I would say, again, it's kind of a gradual across last 7 years. But since I stepped into this kind of cross-functional role, wherein I am contributing towards client deliverables, contributing towards representing my solutions to a client, contributing towards putting across the right picture to my stakeholders. I think from that point on, the KPIs does involve that I have my primary role is to define and design the architecture and the workflow that based on that clients approve the POV. Based on that, my internal developers design and develop the software, and based on those assumptions, my senior management are going to evaluate the ROIs that they are going to get from the application that we are developing, right? So so those are my KPIs. So I have to be 100% accurate on those aspects.
Okay, so sorry, maybe this is where I've got confused. I thought you were going to say suddenly you have this KPI to draw better diagrams or something like that, but it's not that. It's that you've got to communicate design for clients to approve. You've got to communicate. Is it the same design or a different design of the same thing to your developers?
Different design to the same thing. So basically, it's all different design that I am representing to my stakeholders.
There's one story in my head of what this thing is and does. I take it and cast it in one way to talk to clients. I cast it in another way to talk to developers. I cast it another way to get stakeholders.
True.
And all three of these things have to match whatever's in my head.
Exactly. The story is the same, and the representation is different.
And the KPIs are really about the return on investment the management's getting from
Yes.
from what? From your projects or from?
So return on investment as in all of the tools. So basically what happens is there are components that I draw within the visuals, right? There is cost for every component that the management invests, right? So they need to know precisely. I don't want to again go into technical things, but cloud solution or cloud services or a specific tool, let's say Microsoft ChatGPT, just ChatGPT, right? Or Copilot. My developers are using Copilot. How efficiently, how effectively are the Copilots being used, right? Where exactly the data from Copilot flows into multiple different systems, right? That they need to ensure in order to understand the money that they are putting in Copilot subscription is actually being fruitful.
Maybe if I'm just trying to make sure I understand the ROI and the component costs. Is this if your diagrams do not communicate the same thing equivalently to these different stakeholders, the costs of those components go up? Or is it?
No.
Or is it that I need to describe the costs of those components in my diagrams?
Yeah, I need to describe the cost of that components I need to describe, yes, that is correct. So for stakeholders, I need to describe my diagrams or my component in such a way that I represent the value to my stakeholders and not the architecture or technicalities as to what language is going to be used and what all prompts are going to be used. Yeah.
Does this relate to your reuse of the same components and things like this, or is this
yes,
okay,
reusing the same components?
So if you reuse the same components, then what happens? Then the value's harder to track.
Yeah. So basically, the value identifier is something that I represent. It's not necessary in the technology world. The value that a component holds at different juncture of the diagram are different. So let's say when a customer is interacting with ChatGPT versus when a developer is interacting with ChatGPT holds different value, even though it's the same solution.
And so your diagrams are not clear enough to show that these different things have different values, and that's causing problems. Does this tie then back to the critical feedback you mentioned from management?
True. Yes, that is now that's correct.
And okay, cool. So maybe when did that critical feedback start, and when did it reach a head where you said, "Okay, enough's enough. I've got to do something about this"?
That actually started off, very rigorously in the last 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah, 6 months ago, you can say.
And any reason for it in the last 6 months? Like what's going on that's suddenly made them more critical versus you've had this problem for years since school or whatever, right?
Yeah. So again, as you know, we are moving into AI world. So our company is becoming AI first company, and then we probably want to evaluate the ROIs for everything that we are utilizing within our infrastructure. Right.
Okay. So in the last 6 months, the move to be AI first is putting more pressure on you to come on.
Yes.
And is that driving up the percentage of these things that you're doing in your job?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, cool. So you mentioned this about 6 months ago. When do you first start sort of going from, okay, I've got this issue I need to sort of improve my diagrams and I'm making more of them, to sort of seeing or thinking about joining a course on it? How do I play you in that role of moving from, okay, management's just beating me up on this, and then when do I start looking at courses?
So there were events wherein I started spending a lot of time in designing those diagrams specifically for different basically stakeholders. Like when I say stakeholders, different people, different recipients, right? I started
lots of time. You've said it's sort of 60 to 70% of your job.
So even though it's 60-70% of my job, it's not. That does not take away. That's something that I'm basically doing right now. It does not take away. So the 40% of that work that I'm not counting off is actually that 100% that I've had before the last 4 years. So
okay, you haven't got more time in the day, and they've just carved off the hours. You've got 60% more work to do.
Exactly. So 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 that was consuming a lot of time. And of course, me being very strong with the technology side, of course, I didn't have to pay much of an attention. I basically also had the ability to delegate those tasks. But of course, I could not delegate this task of designing the architecture to any other because I was the one doing it alone. So yeah, and that's why. So I think I just lost your question, but if I understand correctly, your question was why I do allocate. No, I mean, can you repeat please your question?
I think if I'm hearing you right, there's been a gradual increase in your need to communicate things visually. You've had a problem for many years. You've then got more critical feedback because more of this is bubbling up on your plate to do visuals.
That is true.
You're using up lots of time, and you can't delegate this to other people.
True.
So how do I go from, like, imagine that's me now. It sounds quite stressful. How do I go from that to then, I don't know, even being aware that courses exist that could help? Like, how do I start to see?
So I initially started looking for an AI solution, like yeah, so something that draws those things for me.
Okay.
So I just visually describe that, not visually. I just theoretically describe something, and it draws that for me. So, I also used usage charts, AI feature, and even Notion for that. So it's not something that I did not proactively started to explore with other tools. But somehow I
sorry, treat me like a complete ignoramus. Lucid Charts and Notion, these tools, I think I know, they have AI features that could do this diagramming for you, do they?
Yes, they do.
Okay. And how long have you been using those features? Is this something?
So extensively, I've been using those features, like AI features. I've been using Lucid Charts AI features since last 1 year. The moment they had published this beta version of AI. So basically, Lucid Chart had given the beta version for free for users to leverage. And then, okay, so it was not like 1.5 years ago. Yeah, is the right answer. Yeah.
And it sounds like, so that was the first port of call. But that doesn't, obviously it hasn't scratched the itch. Like what's wrong with these things? Like, why did you carry on looking?
So basically, again, with all of that, right, it was not something that it could not basically still replicate your thoughts into you probably had to still create the skeleton and then ask Lucid Chart's AI capability to redesign and kind of remodel it for you.
Okay.
It was still not the right story that even you told to Lucid Chart or Notion for that matter.
So basically, if I'm hearing you right, the same things there. I've got this idea trapped in my head.
True.
I know it inside here. I know it inside out. If I try and draw it, I'm repeating things and putting different icons. If I'm telling Lucid Chart or whatever, it's not representing what I think it should look like. Is that right?
That is correct. That is absolutely correct.
Excellent. So how do you go from there to thinking about a course? Like where?
So yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I forgot. So then I started, out of frustration, I started searching and Googling. Of course, that's Gemini is always there for rescue. And then I started Googling what are some of the visual or diagrammatic excellent tools that one can leverage for technology architecture. Right.
Okay.
And in the process of that, as a traditional user, Google searcher, I basically came across this tool, probably as a first or second result. And then I probably just tried it, went into it, understood what exactly are they trying to convey. I actually went into their website, tried to look for.
Hang on, just to make sure I'm following along. So I've gone to Google Gemini. This is after I've tried Lucid Charts, or this is how I found Lucid Charts?
No, this is after I tried Lucid Chart and Notion both.
And so I'm at this stage, I'm still looking for a tool to solve this for me. I'm not looking for a course.
No, I'm not looking for a course. I'm looking for the tool. No, I'm still looking for some help. Actually, I'm not sure whether I need a course or I need a tool. I am just looking for some help. I'm not very specific about whether a tool is going to solve it for me or a course. Okay, until this time, and then I basically land into this website or the portal.
Which website?
The think tank Inc. Studio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you were looking for a tool, Google and Gemini, you're sort of going, I don't know what you're not looking for a tool, you're looking for some help.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's somewhere you've fallen into this Ink. Is it Ink
exactly.
Studio?
Yeah. So because of my verbiage that I entered, would have entered in on a Google search, I landed onto this particular solution.
Any idea what you'd put in there?
I don't actually remember, but of course it would be very long. I'm again a technologist. I know I have to give a right prompt, a very specific prompt.
Okay,
something like what are the best tools to visually represent a technology or diagram or technology architecture into documents, right? So that's what I would have. I guess I would have searched. Not 100% sure though. Don't quote me on that. If that's
no, it's absolutely fine. It's getting the kind of thought process.
Yes.
You've landed on Ink Studio. Is that a tool?
That's not a tool. No, it's not a tool.
Okay.
It's not a tool. It's just another kind of I would say an expertise, a course that will help you learn the art of visually representing your the story that you want to tell. It's not a tool.
Okay. And on this one, so learn the art of visually representing the story. Is that specific to this technology architecture, or is this just
not at all? Not at all. So, in fact, yeah, not at all. And it's actually meant for more artistic people than probably your technology architecture. Of course, it's mentioned as part of their tutorial. They've mentioned that even people from technology, people who want to dwell into technology architecture, can use these methodologies to basically create their visual representation, but they are not completely primarily focused on technology architecture. But what I got help was designing, what is scale, how can I distinguish and how can I define different artifacts that I have there in my mind as part of the story. How can I segregate those is something that they could theoretically explain it to me. That made more sense to me.
Okay, and when you say theoretically explain it to you, I'm not an artist either, so apologies. You've landed on their website. You're not looking for a course.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that pulls you? What is it saying to you that suddenly makes you carry on reading and eventually end up buying?
So their website explains that, hey, if you are not able, as the same thing, if you are not able to convey the right story, you probably should basically take up this course or some of the resource available with us to enhance your capability of visually representing the right thing as you intend.
Okay. Yeah. So you've landed on there, and it isn't a tool, but it's saying it's talking to your problem. It's saying you can't get your story out of your head visually. Take this course, and we'll help you do it.
Yes, we'll help you. You just take this course, and we'll help you. This will definitely be helpful to you. Yeah.
Okay. Now, after you found this, do you go and look for other courses as well, or?
I did, but I don't remember which one.
Okay. How many did you look for, roughly? Do you know?
5 or 6.
Okay. And was this you then going back to Google and changing a prompt to looking at courses?
Yes. Actually, it was part of the same result that I had searched.
Okay.
So basically, of course, you get 5-6 results, right? That's 5-6 top results that you basically get. So I basically explored all of that. With most of the results, what I was thinking,
No, it sounds like you're going where I was asking anyway. What was wrong with the other ones? So you land there and they're not talking to you.
Yeah, so basically they were, what I understood from those other tools, so either those were offering their own tools, like user tool, like what I had used Usage Chart for, right? User tools to design what you're looking for. And that's not permitted as part of my job role. So I work for a health tech company, and
Yeah.
I cannot design everything outside of my laptop, which is assigned by my company.
Okay. So
Yeah.
basically, the Wixed chart was okay because that's something your company provides.
Yes.
But I find something and they're going to teach me how to do exactly what I want to do with another tool. No use to me because
No
I'm
use
not.
to me. Yes,
can't do
I
it.
can't. I can't export that and import that to inside my work laptop and then start documenting and segregating and basically sharing those with my stakeholders. No.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. And were all of them like that, or was there other reasons why you excluded these from your consideration?
Yeah. So some of those look like just an advertising rather than helping us.
How do I discern the difference between advertising and, obviously, because I presume it was Ink Factory that they must have been advertising what they were doing. What was the difference between whatever they were pitching and an advert?
So if they do not have the right approach, like listed and basically explained on their website, right, how they are going to solve it. Are there any methods that they are going to use to help me identify how to start visualizing? Then, of course, it's kind of no go for me. At least the approach is something. This website at least had the approach that there are these techniques through which you can visually segregate or identify every component that you have built the story for, right? You can learn to fine tune that capabilities so that you can easily adapt into the diagram that you are creating, right? None of those had those capabilities. All of them were making promises that after going through this tutorial, you will learn the art of creating best visuals for whatever use case that's needed. So yeah, that was kind of an incomplete story or a marketing gimmick that I thought was not useful and good enough for me to proceed with this.
Okay, so just want to make sure I'm understanding this. Ink Factory, even though it wasn't specifically about the diagramming of like a architectural diagram, it was about, you've got an idea or a story trapped in your head. We have a methodology and an approach to help you bring that out and bring it to life.
Absolutely.
On the other ones I've landed on there, it doesn't tell me how they're going to solve my problem. It doesn't sound like it's talking to your problem.
Correct. That doesn't sound like it's talking to my problem, and doesn't even sound like they have something in place, like an organized, structured way that they can basically convey to me that you can solve your problem.
Okay. And why is that important?
It's important because you want to align your problem statement for which you are going into a specific portal, right? You basically know what you lack, right? Are you going into on a website having a single assumption that I have this problem statement that I lack the skills of not visually be able to segregate things that I want to put across in the diagram. Right?
Yeah.
Simple. So that is what. So when you land on a website, that's the problem statement, exact problem statement that you want to see having explained there somewhere in the description. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So even though it was nothing to do with the specific thing you were going to design, it was everything to do with the specific problem you felt you had and the gap that you were trying to solve.
Yes, 100%.
So you've gone in here, you've looked at 5 or 6 of these things. Were you looking at price at all on any of this? Did you have amount of money you were spending in mind?
No, not at all. I didn't even know. I thought initially even this website would have their own subscription, but to my surprise, it basically directed me to Skillshare. So I didn't even know that I would be re-enrolling into Skillshare to get those subscription of the videos.
Okay. Was it a pleasant surprise, or were you like, oh no, I'm back in Skillshare? I thought I got rid of them.
It was a mixed feeling. I thought, it was kind of a pleasant surprise, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay.
Although it was it was not a surprise. It's kind of this concept, right? I'm going to pay anyways, whether I'm going to pay to Skillshare or I'm going to pay to them.
Oh,
right?
okay. You didn't care that it was you. Once you'd seen this promise that it was going to solve your problem, you're buying it,
Yes.
regardless of who it's provided by.
And then I can, of course, cancel at any point in time. Of course, one thing that they advertised is you get 1 month of Skillshare for free, but that I already had leveraged and utilized, so I didn't get anything free.
Right, okay, fair enough. And I think you said it was $14 a month or something like this.
It is right now.
How quickly did you make this decision?
Basically, after going, I did make that decision within a day. Yeah, within a day. I thought at the max I'm going to lose out those $14, right?
Yeah.
But at least it's connecting to my problem statement. So let's go ahead and subscribe for it. Worst case, I will just request their support team, if at all Skillshare support team is there, and I'll just tell them, no, I don't want this subscription. I just accidentally subscribe to this. The worst case, even if I have to save my $14, I would probably go there and do that.
Is this a lot of money to be thinking about spending?
Yeah, correct. It's not a lot of money to be thinking about.
Compared to?
Sorry?
So what would that compare to? Like if you're spending $14?
So are you asking whether the $14 is too much for me or too less for me?
I don't know. It's more in.
Yeah, it's casual.
Everybody has their own view. When you're spending $14, what does it compare to?
No, it's compared to nothing, actually. To be honest, for $15 is something that I just grabbed a coffee just by just walking today in the evening with a client. So of course, no, $15 is like, I would just think that I just spent something on a coffee that at a place that I was not aware of, and I didn't grab it. I didn't consume it. Simple as that. Yeah.
But this isn't. You're not worried about anything when you sign up to this.
No.
Okay.
If it would have been like annual subscription, then yes, I would have been worried. Like if this would be like $200 straight away, then I definitely would have been worried. I would not want to pay $200 for nothing, right? So
yeah. Okay. So the fact that it was just 1 month and you could cancel, your downside's capped. So you signed up, you said roughly May. Was there something that was happening at that time that particularly, like, why then? If this has been 6 months in the making, what was it about May that tipped you to?
So actually there was a lot of things, and I had a lot of in my plate to be presented, and it was very sensitive in a sense that there was a very large client, one of the lifetime big clients that you get, and that the company didn't want to miss. And they wanted to ensure that I am getting this architecture.
They were a large client that had signed up and were paying you, or this was a pitch for a client?
It already had signed up the initial contract. It basically, they were in the process of signing the final contract, and they still wanted to see the architecture as how we have visualized it by now. So it's part of the contract. That initial contract is signed, and then we probably come up with the right architecture as promised, and then the rest of the formalities gets taken care of. Yeah, but they do have the ability to like pull off from the contract if it's not as anticipated when we had initially discussed it. Yeah.
Okay, and that's happened. April, May, is it?
May. No, it was happening in May. Yes, correct. That is true.
Okay. Why does that suddenly trigger you to solve the problem and to go off doing this search? Why not just knuckle down and do even more work?
So again, I am the firm. Again, I'm a very lazy person. I believe that technology should solve anything that's going to be fixed. It has to be like once in a lifetime. Like I did not pay attention to my engineering drawing, even though I flunked at first attempt. So, right. But because I knew that I have to do this work for the rest of my life, there's no escape out than learning this, and for good, right? Or for good, that I basically would learn this art or technology or skills that would stay with me forever. I probably would not want to have to invest in this area after a few, let's say, a few months of practice or a few years of practice at max.
And maybe this is an interesting point. Well, interesting to me. You're talking about this. You've got this this major client. You know, this once in a lifetime client. They've signed up. Sounds like lots of pressures on you to diagram correctly so that they don't get off the hook. And now you're going to sign up to a course. So you're already working 60% more time building these things, probably more at that point. Where are you getting the time to do this course from?
The good part about course is that it's not like bunch of 18 hours of journey that you have to go through. You can actually play those videos in bits and pieces and still get the right insights that you're looking for.
Okay.
Yeah, so they have these chapters with each chapter representing certain ideas and methodology that you need to acquire in order to approach the right storytelling into visual representation.
And you knew this before you signed up?
Yes. I know, not before I signed up. After I signed up, I watched my video, and that's why I'm continuing the subscription. Otherwise, I would have signed up, I would have canceled it. Boom. Right?
Yeah, I guess when you were signing up then back in May, $14, whatever is the price of the coffee. How are you going to pull the time together to do this? What did you think your time investment was going to be?
Yeah, so I thought that I'm not going to let me just spend the money. Let me see the value that I'm getting out of it, right? Even if I don't get the right value, I'm going to pass by this, right? And I'm going to find out another way, a better way, like the lengthy way that you talked about, right? Self-learning through different patients and basically allocating more time towards this as compared to the thing that I love doing, like technology work, right? And basically have to take the lengthier way of spending more time and accurately redesigning the architecture as what the recipient wants, right? As per the requirement. And that was my approach if this doesn't work, right? But fortunately it did work, and that's how you try.
Okay. So you didn't know how long it was. You just signed up. You got in there. Did you complete it all in one go?
No, not all in one go. It was too much of information actually to consume for a person like me who is not very artistic primarily. So yeah, that's it's all. It was bits and pieces, and to an extent that I'm still consuming that in bits and pieces as and when I need.
I guess did it help? Did you?
Yes. It actually channelized my thoughts as to how I should go about designing this architecture. And that's what one needs, right? That's the teaching one needs. One doesn't need to teach you how should you ideally create a technology diagram versus a painting versus something else, right? One should give you the approaches. There are different types of category of scale. There are different types of contrast. There are different types of highlighting. There's different types of variations that you can utilize, right? That's what you need to learn. You don't need to learn how a technology diagram can be made ideally.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you right, even though I was looking for a solution to diagram things technically, I've taken this course. It's helped me channel my thoughts, and it's just taught me, by the sounds of things, the basics of design: contrast, highlights, shapes, colors, whatever.
Scale. Yeah.
Scale. And once I know that, what happens?
Once I know that, I basically those creativity that's lacking in me would be automatically incepted in my mind, so that I can effortlessly do that even at the runtime. If let's say I'm sitting with a senior management right now, they ask me to design something, right? I think I'm basically aiming to that point wherein I would be able to design that at a real time with my instinctive approach of visualizing or storytelling into the visual representation.
Okay, so if I'm hearing right, this has allowed you to take what was already packed in your head, and now you know the principles that allow you to go and get that out.
Express that.
And is real time a big thing here, or is it just you've learned so much that now you could even do it in real time?
I'm still learning. I've not acquired the perfect expertise on that.
That's a future state, is it?
Yeah, it's a future state that I basically I want to arrive to that state wherein I am, like as I said, right? I just I wake up in the morning, brush my teeth, and then someone asks me to draw it, and I'll just instinctively do it effortlessly. That's the point when I will stop the subscription.
Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense. That's all.
Yeah, having the confidence is kind of a thing that I'm trying to arrive over here.
Yeah, and the confidence is what? The confidence to.
Confidence is like, you know that you are good at it. Yeah, right. Something that I don't care. I don't worry about creating diagrams, architecture, workflows, presentations, visually representing the artifacts, because I know it's a cakewalk for me.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you. That has been really, really great. I've asked probably some of the dumber questions you've ever been asked in your life, so apologies. What would a smart man like yourself have asked? What have I missed from your story about
Yeah, I think one of the couple of very great questions that I wanted to bring as well, why that I've not seen, that I tried to search. Basically, the very reason I was very fascinated with lucid chart was because I thought, if I'm representing or if I'm explaining my ideas or stories that I've made in my mind, something would be able to translate that into the diagram with the artifacts that I probably want to see, and the vice versa. If I have seeing the diagram and I'm just too bored, and like, so I get into the shoes of my senior management and I see the diagrams that Mitul has drawn that does not connect to me at all, I probably should have the tool that translate that story to me into verbiage that is useful to me. So I have still not seen that, but yeah, I would love to go into that zone. Yeah.
The holy grail is Mitul does not have to know this stuff and not have to have it as a cakewalk. Bung it to a GPT and
absolutely. If the coding can be done that way, why not visual representations? Yeah.
Awesome. Look, thank you very, very much. I appreciate that, and thanks for the timing of this. I will close this up and let you get back to your evening. So
thank you so much, Neil. Yeah, it was wonderful talking to you. Yeah.
Likewise. Thanks for your story.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Okay, so for Yanis, this is a bit of a debrief here. Slightly different story. Clearly, this relates again to work. So when turning my ideas into visuals is an increasing part of my work, when I'm moving into a role where I've got to sell this, and sales doesn't have to be selling to clients, although it's part of it. It's also selling it internally, making sure people understand what is it that I'm trying to represent. Communicating to my senior management, and that's really important because obviously he's getting pulled up and saying, hey, these aren't good enough, or this is something that's needed. Comes to a head when it becomes a larger part of his workflow. This epic client turns up, and that's the straw that breaks the camel's back here and pushes him from finally saying, okay, I can look at this, to doing it. What does he want? Well, he wants a way to get this story stuck in his head. How does he get it out in a way that other people can see exactly what he means? Scenes of visuals are really important, partly because of his job, in architecture, design, things like that. Partly because of historical challenges and difficulties. I know, certainly from my perspective, useless at art, really, really bad at it. And I guess, similar for him, he knows this is a weakness that maybe he needs to solve and needs to solve now. It's so I have the confidence to create these things, so I can do this at a cakewalk. I don't have to worry about this anymore, but also so that I can communicate these ideas clearly, unambiguously, and make sure that we build the right thing for the right people, and we keep our clients and our stakeholders happy. So there's some of the big pushes and pulls. You can see some of the anxieties there that he's looking at. Like, is this talking to me? This goes back to, if we get this, the push and pull language right, we'll talk to more people, because he was looking for something for technical architecture. He signed up for something nothing to do with designing systems, and actually that's fine, because what did he want to learn? He wanted to learn whatever I've got down here, contrast, highlight, shape, scale, things like this, the basics of design, which I know you're not teaching, but never mind. So there you go. I will draft this up, come up with the forces of progress and a bit of insight around that. But hopefully this was useful. And for those of you watching along as Yanis and I do this, hopefully you found it useful too.
Alrighty, so that was quite some interviews. So here's the debrief. So as I said up front, he was drawing technical architecture diagrams himself. And that's what he switched from. And then he's gone to this in-factory studio on Skillshare, which isn't a particularly expensive course, but it's interesting to see what is it that people go and look for. So as you saw in that video, the debrief here, technical leader, 13 years, he's kind of built up, and it's as he moves through his career, he goes from just doing to having to explain and to coach others, and to eventually, in a more sales-focused role, to have to communicate to multiple audiences. And when you're communicating to multiple audiences, the need to communicate more clearly, easy for me to say, becomes harder and harder. And so therefore, these three changes here and this build-up of this is the sort of piece that's done this. The interesting part to this one is, in his head, this story is clear. He has no problem seeing the big picture. He's got this kind of architecture diagram, I guess, swimming around up here, which is perfectly clear. And it's only when he starts using his hand and a pen and paper or a tool that things start to go wrong. As he gets critical feedback on this, once management say this isn't good enough, then he starts to think, well, hang on, I've got to start looking for something else. Again, the need for the work grows. And over the last 1.5 to 2 years, it's building up and up. So I think he said it's got to like 60% of his job. And what I found funny about this, he's a classic technologist. So what does he do first? He doesn't look to go and upgrade his skills. He doesn't want to go and get better at doing this. He goes looking for a technology that's going to automate this or do it for him. And unfortunately, no such thing exists because it's still trapped in his skull. I've done this myself. You explain something to ChatGPT, and if you explain it badly to ChatGPT, you get just as bad a result as if you explain it to a real person. And so then ultimately this kind of book, it's courses to teach the skills, and that's what he's said. It's exact problem, my inability to get ideas out of my head and onto the page. And this is really important because actually a lot of people struggle to do things. And if your landing page speaks to their struggle in their own words, and that's one of the things we're trying to mine for here, you immediately talk to them and it makes it much easier to convert. So let's have a look. I won't bore on here. You've just watched this video. What are the pushes in here? So this one here, I've got to create technical documents that visually represent ideas for my role. I'm criticized by my management, so that doesn't feel good. I'm a technical person. I'm not an artist. This isn't my day job, so I don't know how to do this. I don't have these skills. The ideas are stuck in my head. This is the big one for me. I can't express these in a visual manner in a way that others can understand what I mean. My role's changed, so I'm more about this. I've got to do more communicating, not less. So my technical skills that I've fallen back on are no longer as relevant as these communication skills. We have a major client and I need to create the visuals that need to be part. So that, without that, I'm not sure it would have happened at this time. But all of a sudden, this is super important. If I don't get this right, I could screw it up and we may lose this major client. And then that's on me and maybe I'm going to get fired. I'm spending a lot of my time doing this. I really want it to be a lot easier to do. And I feel like I'm rushing this. I'm reusing things. This doesn't feel good either. Why does he want to do this? I just want to know the ideas to turn techniques to turn ideas in my head into visuals that some other people can understand. I want to get it over and done with. So that, can I learn something now that I carry with me for the rest of my life and I can reuse or use and reuse? I want to quickly and easily create these. I don't really want to make this a big painful thing because I'm spending 67% of my time on this. I've got to learn the major concepts, teach me what I need to know here. Can I focus my ideas? The idea is not the problem. The problem is turning it into a visual somebody else understands. I can express what's in my head more easily to multiple stakeholder groups. So that's part of the reason. It's just take it out here and give it to some other people. I need an organised and structured approach to learning and solve the problem. I can do this in my own time and at my own pace. So I don't want to have to be forced into a particular classroom. I need the confidence to do this so that I can go back to do the work that I love. And I want to get to the point where I can do it and I don't worry about it anymore. So they were the main pulls and pushes that I picked up through that. If you heard other ones, please let us know in the comments. And then, what could I do? Well, I could keep on doing it badly. I could try and use a tool to help. And in this case, like, not many anxieties, but do I have to do this? Do I have to? Can I cancel any time? What am I signing up for here? Is this 18 hours of course content in a row? Do I really want to be stuck doing it? And then just some of these things here. So social media for visual ideas is not something he's been an active participant in. He's a lurker, so he's looking for ideas. He likes to come in and see what other people are doing and getting feedback from that that kind of whatever it is, the sort of collaboration or social channel within it. It's really, how do I get the thing in here out onto paper, and not just get it out, but get it out in a way that other people can understand it, so that there's a resonance there. There's a sort of bing light bulb moment. I could just go and get it done for me. I could get some icons and things like that, but that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to spend my money to just have the problem solved. I want to get the skill so that I can do it myself in the future. And he didn't do this all in one go. He went through it in chunks, but that I don't think really matters too much. So there we have it. It's a story of somebody with great ideas trapped in their head who needs to communicate these to others and is struggling to do so, and goes out searching for a solution to that problem, initially looking for technical solutions and eventually saying, you know what, this is a skill I need to get myself. I need to develop my own ability to draft my ideas and communicate them out there so that I can do this well, and so that I don't have to worry about doing it ever again. Cheers.